Hello friends, now I have come up in this session with the word solitude. Solitude. And when pronouncing this word, we must remember that in British English it is pronounced as solitude. Just listen carefully. It is pronounced as solitude, but Americans pronounce it as solitude. Solitude. So, a little different, but yes, both are correct. And the meaning of solitude is the state of being alone. So, when you are alone, you are in solitude. So, now coming to the sentences. And the first sentence is imagine long golden beaches. Imagine long golden beaches where you can wander in solitude. Imagine long golden beaches where you can wander in solitude. Next sentence is I spend my mornings in solitude. I spend my mornings in solitude. Means I like being alone in the morning. So I spend my mornings in solitude. Next sentence is he spent his free time in solitude. He spent his free time in solitude in order to write poems. Uh, so, so the sentence is she said she needed solitude. She said she needed solitude in order to write poems. Now, coming to the next sentence. He loved the quiet solitude of his weekends. He loved the quiet solitude of his weekends. Next is, in solitude only you are your real self. Well, this is a philosophy, and yes, many people feel that they are their real personality when they are in solitude. And yes, when you are alone, then only you realize who you are. Now, coming to the next sentence, she felt solitude growing around her. She felt solitude growing around her. A bit of poetic line, isn't it? So, now getting to the next sentence. Sometime or the other, everybody longs for peace and solitude. I repeat, sometime or the other, everybody longs for peace and solitude. Next sentence is, after the function was over, I returned to the solitude of my room. Now this is a bit literary, and you see, you get so many varieties here, so many expressions are here, and you get an opportunity to update your command over English language. And that's what I'm trying to do through my video sessions. I'm trying to tell you about the different expressions. I'm trying to guide you. Now then, so sometime or the other, everybody longs for peace and solitude. Next sentence is, after the function was over, I returned to the solitude of my room. After the function was over, I returned to the solitude of my room. Next sentence is, he shut himself away to pray in solitude. He shut himself away to pray in solitude. Next is, he enjoyed a few days of peace in the solitude of the mountains. He enjoyed a few days of peace in the solitude of the mountains. Next sentence is, loving you is price of solitude. Loving you is the price of solitude. Next is, have you ever suffered solitude? Have you ever suffered solitude? Well, I'm speaking a sentence only, I'm not asking you. Well, that's your business. So, anyway, have you ever suffered solitude? Coming to the next sentence. I love the golden moments of my solitude. I love the golden moments of my solitude in my balcony overlooking valleys. How lovely a sentence. I love the golden moments of my solitude in my balcony overlooking valleys. Next sentence that is here. The solitude around her, the solitude around her often enlightened her to inject beauty in her poetry. Just listen carefully. The solitude around her often enlightened her to inject beauty into her poetry. Next sentence is, after months of solitude at sea, after months of solitude at sea, it felt strange to be in company. After months of solitude at sea, it felt strange to be in company. In company means being together with someone. Now, the next one is, he lived out his life in solitude. He lived out his life in solitude. Means he spent his whole life being alone. Next sentence is, he enjoyed his moments of solitude. He enjoyed his moments of solitude before the pressures of the day began. So, he enjoyed his moments of solitude before the pressures of the day began. Now, the next sentence is, John Milton said. Well, John Milton was a famous poet. And so John Milton said, solitude sometimes is best society. Solitude sometimes is best society. Now, coming to the next sentence, her solitude has inspired most of her poems. Her solitude has inspired most of her poems. Now, coming to the next sentence, she often longs for solitude. She often longs for solitude to be away from the rush and pace of the metro. She often longs for solitude to be away from the rush and pace of the metro. Metro, the metropolitan cities, the big cities, what you can say, mega cities. Now the next sentence is, solitude brings in delicious thoughts. Delicious. See how the word I am using here and how it is used so beautifully. So, solitude brings in delicious thoughts that design the beauty of life. Solitude brings in delicious thoughts that design the beauty of life. Next sentence is, poetry is the outlet of solitude and long walks. Poetry is the outlet of solitude and long walks. And the second last sentence here is, she could understand his deep longing for solitude. I repeat, she could understand his deep longing for solitude. And the last sentence here in this session, my dear friends, is long years of her solitude tell her story. Long years of her solitude tell her story. So here I come to the end of this session, and I hope you got so many sentences that you liked, and in this way I make my videos giving you something new. And if you have subscribed to my channel, my dear friends, thank you very much. If you haven't, do subscribe to my channel so that I also feel encouraged to come up with fine videos for you. And yes, I take care that the quality of the video is good. Thank you.